You said recently that fresh butchered meat is better than aged one, more taurine. Yeah, exactly. But I read somewhere that most meat must be 2 to 10 days to become edible. Would be too tough or fresh. Look, obviously, to become not edible, not edible, but to the palate, the Western palate now, people basically like soft meat. The reality is, animal food, when we killed an animal and we cooked it and all that and we cut it, that's why we use knives and stone blades to cut it and into thin strips. If you take a look at them at the like the Inuit, when they're cutting the raw meat, they cut it into thin slices and give it to their kids to eat it as thin slices. So it's much easier to masticate. But what's the advantage? Stronger, you end up with much stronger, muscles, facial muscles, and also the bone structure becomes stronger. So your jaw has much more compressive power. Your teeth become much stronger. I mean, I gnaw through bones now. But in the early parts, I liked soft meat as well. But I can handle now a bit thicker meat, not a problem. So that's more for palate, more of the way we've been brought up to think about meat and all that. Our ancestors didn't have outdoors areas they could hang things up for a couple of days to basically allow the bacteria to break down the connective tissue and all that to soften it up. So, we're talking about ancestral ways of eating, and modern days are completely different. That's why I mentioned that, they are, and we're not going back to the ancestral stuff. The reality is, unless you actually get the beast yourself and slaughter it, not going to happen. See, in the past, what we used to do is we also used to lard the meat. So we would put through, and we'd actually put additional fat through the meat. And the reason why we did that is to soften it, to allow the meat to go through and soften. Or we would boil the animal, and then we would make, we would keep the water, which had in that water, there was basically, taurine. And we would basically, my father keeps it and actually uses it for stews, for soups and stuff like that. Got it? So, yeah, there are other ways of doing stuff, but yes. But I was describing the ancestral approach and basically the modern approach being quite different, and it's not a question of edible. It's a matter of modern palates and weaker jaws, modern weaker jaws that can't handle probably as, it's not as having to chew quite a bit. Well, they could, you see tribal people, they use their hands, they rip the part and chew it and swallow, rip the part, chew it and swallow. Very different eating method. We like to cut it finely and eat it, we're sophisticated. But we lose a lot of other nutrients due to our sophistication. So I was just comparing the two, contrasting. And probably the reason why we probably need more taurine than we get in their diet anyway, because of those reasons. So